Let's talk about Relay, the new David Mackenzie film. David Mackenzie directed Hell or High Water back in 2016. And that movie is such a throwback to me. It takes me back to high school when I first saw that. And I remember the name I always took away from that movie was Taylor Sheridan, who went on to produce lots of Western shows like Yellowstone, 1823, tons and tons of shows. But David Mackenzie, like, his films have usually been defined as not being, pinned to a specific genre. I think a lot of his films have crime elements in them. This movie is being described as kind of a throwback movie. This was a very interesting watch. I mean, I will just tell you that. I saw this at the Regal Monday Mystery Movie. The movie follows Tom, played by Riz Ahmed. He's a secretive fixer who brokers payoffs on behalf of corrupt corporations. And Sarah, played by Lily James, is a potential client who may need his protection. That's the synopsis for the movie. It's very vague. And it's not a movie I think a lot of people are going to see. I saw this for the mystery movie, and it was a packed screening. This was in one of the bigger auditoriums that they don't usually use. I saw Gladiator 2 for the Monday Mystery Movie way back in November, and that was in a smaller auditorium. It's just interesting to me that, I guess, the scheduling, they had this huge theater for the mystery movie, and it's not a film I think tons and tons of people are going to flock to. This is a very small, very independent style thriller. It's mostly small. It's entirely set in New York, which I absolutely love. It's almost all shot on location. I mean, I could only assume that maybe in car sequences it was shot on green screen, maybe. It mostly seems like this was all shot in New York City, which I really love. That's partly why it's a throwback, in that this movie feels very handmade, not like there's a lot of digital finesse. Most of the movie revolves around Lily James's character, who works for this pesticide, this company that makes pesticides. Or they also talk about wheat and trying to modify, genetically modified organisms. They're trying to modify wheat so bugs won't go after it, or they don't need pesticides. But either way, whatever she's developing, or this huge corporation she works for, it's killing people or it's giving people cancer, and they're trying to hide this. It's that conspiracy element that used to be very big in the 70s movies, like The Parallax View, for example. And more recently, a lot of people have been making this comparison. Michael Clayton, the Tony Gilroy movie. I absolutely love movies like that. Specifically the modern kind of thriller. Michael Clayton was always a perfect example in film class. I remember a teacher telling me, it's a great way to use storytelling because the movie doesn't have crazy, things on screen. It's very simple. It's very low budget. If you see my reviews, recently I talked about Weapons and Together, and I said Weapons did well because it had a higher budget, where Together kind of suffered from it. But it usually isn't an issue of budget. It's how you use that budget and how you use your story. Relay and Michael Clayton both have definitely lower budgets. I think Michael Clayton, probably most of the money went to George Clooney in the starring role. But what made it work was it was all about dialogue. It was all about using the power of storytelling in a film medium and doing it so well. That movie came out in 2007. There Will Be Blood was nominated for Best Picture. No Country for Old Men was nominated. And that didn't take home anything. Actually, it won Best Supporting Actress for Tilda Swinton. Michael Clayton is an amazing movie. And just the fact that it's ranked right next to There Will Be Blood and right next to No Country for Old Men that year is very interesting to me, because they are very different scopes of movies. But Michael Clayton works because it's a very contained narrative drama where everything relies on the dialogue. And that great dialogue wouldn't work if the cinematography wasn't so great. You can make really great, really good dialogue-driven thrillers, which that is. What I love about movies like that is it's inspiring to me, to so many other people also who just are filmmakers, because you can always critique a movie, but you can always see how a movie is really good. I don't like shitting on movies. I mean, I do if the movie's egregiously bad, like War of the Worlds. My point is there's lessons you can take from every movie. And the lesson with a movie like Michael Clayton and now Relay is it's really important to have great visual structure and great dialogue, because you can create a really thrilling movie and you don't need explosions, you don't need car chases, you don't even need to film extensive gunplay or action choreography. I love blockbusters. I love movies where there's tons of explosions and, stuff like that. Michael Bay is a master of symphonizing that together. And with a movie like Relay and Michael Clayton, it's kind of an inverse where it's all about the dialogue. And to sum everything up that I've been saying, I think that Relay is good. I don't think it's great, though. The hook here is this relay device, right? Riz Ahmed and Lily James communicate with this old-fashioned technology. They kind of communicate on these old... It looks like those things tax accountants use. I know because my grandpa is a tax accountant, and he had one of these old-ass typing machines. Basically, he uses this typewriter to communicate and uses this system of callers to speak to his client to tell her what to do. And that's where the core of the movie is, and in my opinion, it's just not enough. You could have a really good conspiracy thriller, but there needs to be a little more something to loop this around. This movie to me feels like all bark, no bite in a way. It is very thrilling. It's suspenseful, but it never comes full circle. I feel like the entire movie is just a race to the finish line, but it's never you see the finish line coming. It's almost like we go past it and we didn't even know. You know what I mean? There's just something about this roller coaster of a movie that's very smart. It's very snappy. It really is an adult thriller, not adult erotic or anything. Adult there's nothing inherently fun about this movie. I mean, it makes all the safest decisions when it comes to revealing plot information, when it's with the dialogue. It's not a movie that's going to make you laugh or cheer or get really excited, although at some points there are suspenseful moments. I think Sam Worthington's so good in this. Riz Ahmed, Lily James. Willa Fitzgerald, who is probably the best part of Strange Darling, is really good in this movie as well. I just think it needed a tighter core. Riz Ahmed in this feels like Ryan Gosling. He's literally Ryan Gosling in Drive. But, they're totally different movies where Drive is entirely style with a good noir kind of engine. This movie doesn't really have a distinct style. It's kind of this ambiguous, dry, like I said, handmade New York movie. But it doesn't have that grittiness that, a Safdie Brothers movie would have, or, a grungy handheld, filmmaking style that's become kind of very popular recently. That's not a bad thing at all. I actually do enjoy the kind of throwback filmmaking style. I just really think the story needed to have more something in it. And I completely understand that they're going for the villains are the faceless suits. There's really just henchmen who are pursuing them. It does feel I feel like the best part about a conspiracy thriller is the idea that our main characters are just this small piece of this huge iceberg, and this is just the tip. But it doesn't really feel like it ever expands on that, where Michael Clayton does. Michael Clayton lets you feel that threat, and it's a similar movie in both its style, execution, and its function, where they're both modestly budgeted movies that have good production value. But I just don't see Relay as being this rewatchable movie. It's very smart, but it's not, there's nothing unique about it enough. The Relay thing is just kind of boring to me. Okay, they communicate back and forth. It's not enough, I just feel to justify this whole story. Drive doesn't have an amazing story. It's a bunch of cliches, but the style is so good and everything else fits together. People remember that movie and are going to talk about it. I don't think people are going to talk about Relay the way people talk about Drive. It does have some really great sequences, though, and I love New York movies. I love movies set in New York. I love all the locations in here. I love that there's a Times Square sequence, but I do feel like there just could be a little more. Make the climax of your film set in Grand Central. They don't do that. I just feel for this movie to be somewhat more memorable, it needs some more characters. Sam Worthington's really good. There just needs to be more distinct characters. This is just if you want to make it more memorable. And I think the locations, maybe They should have just ended on a big one. But let me know what you guys thought of Relay. Overall, it's very solidly crafted, but it's no hell or high water. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching.